Welcome to 2023. As we are in the first week of a new year, I think it is very fitting to talk about goals, intentions, and changing your life for the better. Today, I'd like to share with you that you can change your life. Does not matter where you are now, you are only one decision away from creating your life. Did you know that you are your own judge, your own executioner, and your own participant as we create the story of a life, the things that we tell ourselves? And then we get to penalize ourselves when something doesn't go right, and we judge ourselves, and we often talk to ourselves worse than we would to a friend. If a friend was dealing with a situation, and how would you help them? How would you approach them? You're going to be more kind and more compassionate, but you are not like that towards yourself. Why not? And let's decompose that. I think it all stems from limiting beliefs that we have. And what is a limiting belief? Limiting belief is a state of mind. It's a conviction, a belief that you think be true that limits you in some way. The limiting belief could be about you, your interaction with other people, or with the world and how it works. And limiting beliefs, they have negative effects on you. They could keep you from making good choices, taking new opportunities, or reaching your full potential. Ultimately, limiting beliefs can keep you stuck in a negative state of mind and hinder you from living the life you truly deserve. There is a great quote by Oprah Winfrey: "You become what you believe. You are where you are today in your life based on everything you have believed." Think about that. Here are some examples of limiting beliefs. What does it look like? What does limiting belief look like? Well, first, it's resistance to change. Have you ever found yourself in a situation and you don't want to change? You like how everything works. Maybe it's not working out, but at least it is familiar. You know how it is, and you don't want to change. There is something holding you back. Helplessness in the face of a challenge, helplessness in the face of a new challenge. When something new comes up, you suddenly tell yourself, "Oh, I cannot do it. I never done this before." But remember when you were a little kid, when you were just learning how to walk? I don't think you have asked yourself that question. I never done this before. Like, why should I even start trying? And it took you some time to be able to learn. And there was a new challenge, right? You would get up, make one step, fall down, and at least in my case, I would fall down and I would sit and I would wait for somebody to come pick me up. But you didn't give up. You kept on trying and trying and trying until you succeeded. You weren't afraid back then, because we come to this world with a clean slate. We are not thinking about, "Oh, I cannot do this or that." You just, as a little baby, when little baby has needs, they scream about it, and they expect to be cuddled, laughed, and cared for. They don't think about, "Oh, my mom didn't sleep, or she's tired," and they just express how they are feeling, and they expect to receive love in return. No questions asked. But I'm diverting myself. Let's get back to limiting beliefs. So another example of limiting belief is hopelessness about your ability to do things differently. Because you haven't done something before, you immediately assume that it's going to be difficult, or you're not going to be able to figure it out. But it's nothing further from the truth. In fact, the best things, they are on the other side of fear, the things that happen. And if we can, fear is short-lived. And the end result, you always become better in the end, on the other side. And you can do it. You can break through that. What does limiting belief feel like? Most people experience a felt sense of tension, heaviness, and or cold in the body when they're under the influence of a limiting belief. Have you ever noticed? Sometimes we go through life, we don't pay attention, but have you ever noticed how you're feeling in a situation? What is your sensation in your body? Do you feel any difference, any cold or heaviness in some part of your body? Notice that. Also common is a freeze or collapse response in the body when you're experiencing a limiting belief. What does it sound like? Well, have you ever heard of this expression? This is a dog-eat-dog kind of world. No pain, no gain. Never show weakness. Plays for children. How often did you say that? Plays for children. As adults, we forget how to be playful, how to be present. And as kids, it was a natural thing to do. And another example, this is a man's world. This is an example of a limiting belief. What is caused by those limiting beliefs? What is the cause? Why do we even have them? Well, first, they come from family beliefs. Your parents reinforcing a belief that authority should never be challenged. Think about it when you were a little kid. It was the parents' way or the highway. And I'm not saying like discipline is important, but we have this ingrained sense of responding to figures of authority and taking their word for granted. And as we grow up, oftentimes we don't challenge that word. We assume it is the truth. You could believe that authority is something that must be accepted as opposed to be challenged. You may even be unable to recognize this behavior because this is how we've been growing up and conditioned into believing that. In education, whether you are learning from family, teachers, friends, they all have an impact on what you adopt as truth. This is because they're both in a position of authority and constantly sharing information, ideas, beliefs about how the world works. So if something wasn't working for your education people or your teachers, your parents, they assume that it will not going to work for you. And then they pass on that belief to you. And this is how you live your life. And you don't even realize that. When you are learning from authority figures, you're more inclined to conclude that the things they tell you are true. And yes, they could be true for them, but for you, it could be different. Experiences also cause limiting beliefs. As we grow older, then we start developing our own experiences about life, about situations. And it's common to draw conclusions from them. It's, for example, you fall in love and it ends in a heartbreak. You might conclude that love always ends in pain. And that's how you live your life. Negative experiences strongly shape your limiting beliefs. It is important to remember that conclusions you make after bad experiences are only valid temporarily. We can always examine any situation in life as an experience from where we can learn something. So what did you learn from a particular experience, and treat it not as a failure, but just as a feedback mechanism. So something happened that was negative. Let's say there was a love that ended in a heartbreak. What did you learn from that experience? What is a positive thing that you learned? I know it's a negative event, but what did you learn positively that you can take with yourself today and then in a new relationship implement it better? Maybe you should communicate better, or maybe you should listen to your inner voice and sooner. So what were some of the positive things that you learned, and take those learnings into your next relationship, for example? So how do you free yourself from those limiting beliefs? Think about what you think. Have you ever done that? I know it sounds a little weird. So think about what you think. Listen to the little voice in your head. I know we all have voices. So who are you listening to? What is that little voice telling you? Especially when nobody is listening or seeing. What does that little voice tell you? Do you hear often, I'm not good enough, I'm so-and-so? And think about whose voice is speaking to you in your thoughts. Is it a voice of a parent, a teacher, a community leader, or your own voice? Who is speaking? And which messages do you listen to and which do you ignore? Ask yourself, does this serve me? Next time, you hear that little voice, does that serve me? And be mindful of your body. When there is tension, there is often the influence of a limiting belief. When there is an action or a freeze response, there is often the influence of a limiting belief. Is your body shrinking? Pay attention. Oftentimes we go through life, we don't pay attention to our body, and our body does so many great things for us. The fact that you can breathe and talk and see and hear and be alive, and we take that for granted. We often take a lot of things for granted until they disappear. So pay attention to your body. Listen to your body, what it's telling you. Be mindful. And after today's podcast, I would want to leave you with this little homework that you can practice on your own time. Choose one area and write on a blank sheet, whether it's business and career, relationships and love, money and finances, or health and fitness, and write the result you want in that area in a few words. For example, I want to lose 10 pounds. As an example. Who has already done it? Write that as well. And list 5 reasons why you can't achieve it, the result you wrote down earlier. And start it like that. I can't because, and then insert the reason. What you're doing here in this exercise, you are kind of evaluating yourself and what your thoughts are. And taking that evaluation a step further. And here's some of the examples in the I can't space. I am too old. This is like top 10 limiting beliefs that often are heard. I am too old. I am not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. I am afraid of trying and failing. You have to have money to make money. I've already tried everything. It's selfish for me to want more. And I don't feel that I really deserve it. I don't have the willpower. All the good ones are taken. So those are some of the examples that you can insert there. So why do you want to do all that limiting belief work? Well, we want to create new beliefs. By creating new beliefs, you can change your story and then therefore change your life. How do you create those new beliefs? You can adapt a positive role model. Is there somebody in this world who you want to be like, who you want to emulate? What are some of the positive qualities of that person? Be mindful, practice visualization and meditation. Meditation is your inner shower of the mind. Just like you take a shower in the morning to feel fresh, to feel good every day. When you practice meditation, you practice the inner shower of your mind. You're clearing your thoughts, you're creating a blank slate every single day as you do it as part of your daily routine. And visualization helps with goal setting as well. When you're visualizing, what do you want to experience? What kind of life do you want to create? Establish a gratitude journal and count your blessings. This goes to say that in any difficult situation, there is always an opportunity to be grateful for something that is working in your life. Oftentimes we concentrate on things that are broken, on things that we do not want, but what if we focus our attention on something that is working? The fact that you are breathing, the fact that you are seeing, the fact that you have food on your table and a roof over your head. Why don't you be grateful for that? Because what you focus on, it expands. So practicing gratitude is an important practice to have in creating new sets of beliefs for yourself and reprogramming. Remember that you have, I don't know how old you are, but for many years you have been programmed into believing and thinking certain things. And now we got to undo all that work. We got to create something beautiful, something better to change. And sometimes change is difficult. So we do those in micro steps and micro moments every single day of your life. Listen to yes. And another thing is once you create those beliefs, write down your story, how you would want it to be, and recite it to yourself daily. So create a story from a present tense instead of saying how your life didn't work out because so and so and this person did that and things didn't work out and life was ruined. No, you always have a chance to start over. You always have a chance to create something different, and you can do so. In the beginning, start writing a story how you want your life to be. Write it from a present tense, because our mind doesn't matter if you say something in the future, in the past, or in the present. For your mind, it's all happening presently today. So write a story of how you want your life to be. Avoid using negative words. Oftentimes when we speak and somebody asks you, what do you want? You start blurting out things you do not want. But what if you write things that you do want? Use positive sentences. And once you have that life story, it doesn't have to be long. Recite it to yourself daily. Make it familiar to your mind, because our mind resists change. So what do we gotta do? We gotta make something that is unfamiliar familiar. And how do we do that? We can start by programming ourselves, by reading, reciting to yourself daily that story that you want to create. And don't say, I want, I want, I want. Just say, I am. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I have amazing opportunities for expansion, or whatever it is that you want to create. Start from present tense as if you are already there, and make your mind believe that by reciting to yourself daily that story that you want to create, until it becomes so familiar and you start recognizing those things. So this is it for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Hope you have an amazing rest of your year. This is January. This is your opportunity to create your life, to create your year. What do you want to create this year? What kind of experiences do you want to have? What kind of opportunities do you want to create? It is all in your hands, and it all starts with you. You're only one decision away from changing your life. If you don't know how to do so, if you feel stuck, if you feel uncertain, please do reach out, and I can help you, guide you through the process of change and creating your life in whatever, however you see that is working for you. I can be reached at Irina at irinashehovtsov.com. You can follow me on social media for more tips and advice. And until next time, have an amazing rest of your 2023. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing rest of your year.